The Keynesian consumption function, also known as the absolute income hypothesis, AIH, is a foundational concept in macroeconomics, introduced by John Maynard Keynes in his seminal 1936 work, The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. It describes the relationship between aggregate consumption and current disposable income. Core idea and formula. Keynes argued that consumption is primarily a function of current disposable income. As income rises, people tend to consume more, but not by the full amount of the income increase. The remaining portion is saved. The linear form of the Keynesian consumption function is typically expressed as C equals A plus BY underscore D, where C equals aggregate consumption, A equals autonomous consumption. This is the level of consumption that occurs even when disposable income, Y underscore D, is zero. It represents basic necessities and is independent of current income. People might finance this through past savings, borrowing, or government transfers. B equals marginal propensity to consume, MPC. This is the slope of the consumption function. It represents the proportion of an additional unit of disposable income that is spent on consumption. In other words, B equals frase delta C delta Y underscore D. Keynes argued that the MPC is positive but less than 1. 0 less than B less than 1. This is Keynes's fundamental psychological law. It means that when income increases, consumption increases, but by a smaller amount than the increase in income. The rest is saved. Relatively stable in the short run. Keynes assumed that this relationship is stable and predictable for policy analysis in the short run. Y underscore D equals disposable income. This is the income households have after taxes and transfers, available for consumption or saving. Key characteristics and implications. 1. Direct relationship with current income. Consumption is directly and primarily determined by current disposable income. 2. Autonomous consumption. The existence of N implies that even at zero income, there is a baseline level of consumption. This suggests that at very low income levels, individuals might save, spend more than they earn, to meet their basic needs. 3. Marginal propensity to consume, MPC. As mentioned, 0 less than MPC less than 1. This is crucial for the Keynesian multiplier effect, as it means that an initial injection of spending into the economy leads to a larger overall increase in income, because a portion of that income is re-spent. Keynes also suggested that the MPC might decrease as income rises. As people become wealthier, their basic needs are more easily met, and they tend to save a larger proportion of any additional income. 4. Average propensity to consume, APC. The APC is the proportion of total income consumed. APC equals frac Y underscore D. Since C equals A plus BY underscore D, then APC equals frac Y underscore D plus B as Y underscore D increases, the term frac Y underscore D decreases. This implies that the APC tends to fall as income rises. This means wealthier individuals or nations tend to save a larger proportion of their income. 5. Short-run focus. The Keynesian consumption function is primarily a short-run relationship. Keynes assumed that other factors influencing consumption, like wealth, interest rates, consumer expectations, price levels, etc., are relatively constant in the short run. 6. Instability of the consumption function. While assumed stable in the short run, Keynes did acknowledge that non-income factors could cause the consumption function to shift. For example, a change in consumer confidence or wealth could shift the entire function up or down. Criticisms and limitations. Despite its foundational importance, the Keynesian consumption function faced empirical challenges and theoretical refinements. Long-run empirical evidence. Simon Kuznets's empirical work in the 1940s found that the long-run APC was remarkably stable, contradicting Keynes's prediction that APC would fall as income rises over time. This led to the development of theories like the permanent income hypothesis and the life cycle hypothesis. Neglect of non-income factors. Critics argued that the Keynesian model oversimplified consumption decisions by largely ignoring the influence of wealth, interest rates, expectations about future income, and demographic factors. Consumption smoothing. The AIH doesn't fully capture the idea that individuals try to smooth their consumption over their lifetime, a concept central to later theories. A temporary income shock would lead to a significant change in consumption under the AIH, which is not what empirical evidence often shows. In summary, the Keynesian consumption function was revolutionary in its time, providing a simple yet powerful framework for understanding aggregate demand and the role of income in driving consumption. However, its limitations paved the way for more sophisticated theories that incorporated long-term planning and wealth effects.